Does white privilege exist?
Absolutely.
It does.
Absolutely.
And where's the proof of that?
You black. How come you don't believe white privilege exists? What you see?
I am black in color, but I don't have that dark mentality that most black people have.
Clearly.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are meeting me for the first time, my name is Clevy and it is so nice to meet you. We are back with another video from Jessie Peterson, and this is Guests Won't Accept Accountability. Interesting. Let's dive right in.
Does white privilege exist?
Absolutely.
It does.
Absolutely.
And where's the proof of that?
All around. I tell people often now, in hindsight, one of the things that I wish I would have been more cognizant of was the white privilege at UCLA that was sitting, right next to me. For black people, I believe white privilege is something to leverage.
What is it though? I don't see it anywhere. What is it?
Huh?
What is it?
How don't you
For
not
people
see
like
white
me
privilege?
who don't see it.
How do you not see white privilege?
Because it doesn't exist. That's
Yes,
what
it does.
So what is it exactly?
Things, I believe white privilege is just the ability just to be free and white and not have the same type of social, economic, and social ills as black people have to deal with. I mean, there's no white racial profiling. White people don't get pulled over by the cops just because they're white. They have the ability to, show emotion and love to their sons without being emasculated. There's all kind of examples
That's
of
amazing
white privilege.
that you believe
Absolutely. Why don't you black? How come you don't believe white privilege exists? What you see?
Well, because I am black in color, but I don't have that dark mentality that most black people have.
Clearly.
I see, she said clearly, I see that white people have the same struggles and things that we have in that
What type of
they have
struggles
to
do they
make their
have?
marriages work. They have to make their children, help their kids grow up in the right way so that they can earn a living and be independent.
But they also have the majority of their
make
fathers
kids-
at home.
Right,
We don't
and the
have-
reason for that, it's starting to change somewhat now, but the reason for that is because they are taking responsibility for that, whereas black men and women are not taking responsibility for that, as they did prior to the civil rights movement. Black people are blaming it on their lack of self-control and self-containment. They're blaming it on white people, while white people are working hard to keep it going.
I do
for
believe
themselves.
that there is a need for black people to be held more accountable.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that doesn't excuse racism, that doesn't excuse institutionalized racism, that doesn't excuse...
But there's no
that,
such thing as that.
Yes,
it's an
it
illusion
is.
made
No,
up
it's
by
not.
black people and
No,
their
it's
leaders.
not. No, it's not. It exists.
Well,
Sorry.
where's the proof of it though?
What do you mean, where's the proof of it?
There are many kids who are getting into, black kids who are allowed to get into these universities around the country, right, based on affirmative action. And because of affirmative action based on their color. That's discrimination based on color, and that's wrong. And these kids are getting in, but they're not earning their way. So when they fail, they feel less than before they were allowed to get in based on color.
I'm a proud product of affirmative action. When I went to UCLA, it was because I was an affirmative action student.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And I think I turned out fantastic. So a lot of my peers who were having challenges getting into some of these predominantly white institutions, the affirmative action was great. My father went to Harvard. He was one of very few blacks.
Was he affirmative action person?
I don't know if he was. That was back in the late 60s.
Well, then he wasn't. He earned his way.
So, that being said, I still believe that affirmative action helped me get into UCLA, and it gave me access.
You would
and
not have
exposure.
gotten in there on your own because you were not smart enough?
I don't know if I wasn't smart enough, but based on the curve and what I was competing with other individuals who had different educational opportunities and teachers. I mean, I'm coming from, the LA Unified School District. I mean, so at the time, I think LAUSD was still pretty good. But I went to all white schools from high school up
So you
through
got
college.
a good education. Why couldn't you get into the school based on your own talent?
I don't know. Maybe because I didn't have some of the opportunity.
But you had the opportunity.
No, well, first of all,
you had the same
SAT,
opportunity those white kids were having.
Not necessarily. I had different teachers. I had different
So you
resources.
went to a white integrated school,
I'm talking about
mostly
going
white.
into these other into UCLA, I still had to be able to deal with some of the issues in going to predominantly white schools.
Like
but
what?
I still had to be able to compete.
Like what?
What do you mean, like what?
Some of the issues going to a
I
predominantly
went I would graduate from University High School, and at the time they didn't have an African American student union.
An African American student union
At the school,
Well, that's a good thing.
they didn't have one.
That's a good thing.
Why?
Why do you need something like that?
They have Asian student unions. They have Jewish student unions. They have all kind of
Did
different.
they have
student
white
unions.
student union?
They need student union. They own the whole school. So
But the kids
there
didn't
were
own
no-
the school. The kids didn't.
But I'm saying there's nothing. I don't think there's nothing wrong
It's
with having
amazing that
a
you think this way.
segregated, population of students who just want to study together, or work together, or to be able to.
Would you
deal
be in
with
support of a white student union?
Yeah, of course.
It would be okay with you?
Yeah, why
Okay.
not?
But most blacks don't feel that way.
I think all cultures should be able to segregate and to be able to work within their cultures and network within their own cultures. Absolutely.
Does racism exist?
I believe racism does exist.
And where's the
absolutely.
proof of that?
You just see it all over in the country. That we're proof of it. In terms
What-
of just the,
what do
the
I see?
disproportionate in the economics with black people.
But that has nothing to do with racism.
It does. Racism is about power. It's about who is in control. And black people can't be racist because we're not in control. We're not in control of the educational system, some of the social organizations and things that run this country. We're not in control. Racism is about power.
But you would
What
be in
race is
control of your own life if you had good parents, if they taught you how to be independent, if they taught you how to build, how to take care of. I've noticed that the reason I left where I lived over there in the Crenshaw district is that once the white people left, because once I moved there, when I first moved there, it was mostly whites. But once they left, as they did in Gary, Indiana, and other places, the blacks turned it into a ghetto. A beautiful area went to hell in a handbasket, so I got out. But if blacks had more character and they were taking care of themselves and being responsible and buying land and teaching their
But
children,
that has to be taught.
then right. So that has nothing to do with racism.
But that has to, of course, that has to be taught.
So it's not racist. It's not white people's fault that you're not teaching your children to do that.
No, but it's not. If the
that true?
parents don't know,
They
if the
don't know.
parents,
But that's not
the
white
parents
people's
don't
fault,
know, but if they go into some of these institutions, these predominantly white institutions, they are targeted. They don't have the same opportunities because of their color. It's true. I mean,
So then why go in there then? Why not go to an all-black school if you
some
feel
people
that?
do choose to do that.
I'm sorry?
Some people do choose. That's
Well,
what
you see a lot of these black kids going to these white universities, and then they force their way in by saying, I need affirmative action. Once they get in, now they crying racism. Why do you want to force your way in with the people you think are your enemies, and you're still complaining once you get there?
I don't think people are forcing their way. Does
They are.
affirmative action even
action
exist?
is forced based on color.
Does affirmative action even exist? Are people getting in based on affirmative action?
Yes.
Today,
Otherwise, they wouldn't be there.
The way Trump has it down, he's just leveled the playing field. So it is going to have to be more about being able to be competitive.
Hallelujah.
Does racism exist? Let me know your answer in the comment section. Do you think it exists? Or do you think it doesn't? Or do you think people say it so much that now make it feel like it exists when it wasn't even there? We've had I can reference a lot of people who we've checked out the past couple of weeks, and they've all had a thing or two to say about racism. Jesse Lee Peterson is of the opinion that it doesn't exist. Charlie Kirk is it doesn't exist. Thomas Sowell said it does, but stay away from the racist hunters, the racist industries. Stay away from it. Equip yourself with skills that people are willing to pay for. All right. Morgan Freeman say it's just an excuse. A lot of people. Tim Scott says what? Yes, it does exist, but let us look at the progress. He said let's look at the progress over anything. So do you think racism exists? Because we've hit on this issue quite a lot of times, and it's always interesting when we get to hear different people's opinions and thoughts about it. Do you think it exists, or do you think it is a made up word? They asked her, do you think white privilege exists? Charlie Kirk asked the lady, I think was it a lady? Yes. He said, mention one thing that a white person can do that a black person cannot do. And when we talk about this, okay, let's talk about something. We always have the issues of, even the other time when we talked about, that athlete who recently adopted black kids, and people kept on talking and talking and talking. They're like, okay, why is it that the most percentage of absent fathers, you would mostly find them in the black community? Children who grew up with just one parent and not two. So absent fathers here and there. Like, people blame it on racism. And you're like, what is really going on? Why are they not present? Why are they not working and trying to be responsible enough to cater for their kids? You can see everything he's saying. She's like, they need to be taught. But he's like, okay, look at this neighborhood that was there before. I moved in, it was mostly white. And then when blacks moved in, they turned the whole thing to get like, it's a lot. The ghetto culture is something else these days. But you guys, what do you think? What's a suggestion? Let me know more about what you think in the comment section. As usual, be respectful so YouTube doesn't withhold your comments, because there's been a lot of censorship these days, if you've noticed. So you guys, let's be careful with how we, say things in the comment section, and I'll see you right there.